Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In this video, this is going to be part 2 of the video that I posted last week, all about the Mage Tower, but in this video, I'm going to be showing off 5 more items, which you should be crafting now to make a ton of gold. Now, if you guys did not catch the previous video, I highly recommend watching it before this one. What this is basically I go over 5 to 6 items, which are super easy to get. That means that all you basically have to do is have the profession leveled up, no extra quest lines, no extra reputations given. And so the previous video, lots of people said that they've had success, whether it's in my Discord, in the comments, or just, on Reddit, or just in general. Lots of people have been saying that these items have been selling super well for them. So if you guys have not done anything with the Mage Tower, I highly recommend checking out that video first. But the reason why I do want to make a second video is because the Mage Tower time limit has now been extended. It was originally supposed to be only for 2 weeks, which means technically we should only have 1 week full left. But they've extended the time into 4 weeks, so now the Mage Tower is going until January 4th, which is exactly 3 weeks away from when this video is releasing. So if you guys were, not really getting into the Mage Tower stuff because you thought you didn't have time, I highly recommend, if you do have, time over the next month, I highly recommend getting into this. But this video is going to be a follow-up. None of this is going to be repeated items. So like I did said before, if you like these items or you liked the previous video, make sure you watch both because I will not be repeating items. But without further ado, we are going to get right into this. So the first item that I want to be talking about are the War Scrolls, and 2 of them are right here. I actually sold 20 of each of them within the past 8 minutes, but there are 3 of these, and these are from BfA Inscription. So there are the War Scrolls of Fortitude right here, there are the War Scrolls of Battle Shout, and then lastly there is the War Scroll of Intellect. And the only thing that this requires is, like I said, you have to make sure you have BfA Inscription. You just have to learn the recipe at the trainer, and these only require crimson ink to craft them. Off the top of my head, it either requires 3 ink or 5 ink. I will make sure to put the recipe on the screen, but either way, they are super cheap to make, and on my server, they have been selling very, very well. As you can see, like I said, I've sold 20 of each of them 8 minutes ago, and they have been selling for, 500 gold a piece, and my crafting cost is 140 gold a piece. Now, on my server, you can look and see that the market value of this item is a lot lower, and that's because, not until recently it has jumped up in price due to the Mage Tower, and you can also see that the region sale average is a lot higher at 1,000 gold. So if you are on a different server, you possibly will have a lot better sale value than me currently. But what I do to craft this item is basically I just look up all of the cheap BfA ores. So, I'll look up River's Bud, and I'm just like, okay, this is at 6 gold. I look up Star Moss. Okay, that's at 7. I have Acundas. Okay, that's also, around 7. Then you have the Sea Stalk, which is actually at 5. So what I would do is, since this was the cheapest, I might buy all of this out. That cost me 1.7 thousand. Then I believe the cheapest after that was River's Bud. So then I'll go in here and, I guess there's actually not a lot. So we might go over to the Sea Stalk and pick up this as well, or these. But basically, you just go through here, which actually I'm going to pick this up right now. But basically, you just look up the very cheap ores, you go mill it, and you get the crimson ink, which then you can go and craft these War Scrolls. In the past little bit, we can look if we go into purchases. As you can see, I've bought, 500 of it. I've also so as you can see, I probably spent, like 30k on the materials. And if we do want to look into the revenue for these War Scrolls, currently up to this point, I have sold 200 of them for 84,000 gold, and this was in the past week. My last sale, or my longest sale, was 6 days ago. Now, Of course, a lot of these prices are different. As you can see, the intellect did pretty bad for me for the first little bit. However, they have definitely gone up in price. So I haven't sold them a ton, but those were kind of the worst. And also, this does not take into account the current stuff that I have sold in here. So if we just want to look, I bet I have, yep, there's some war scrolls right here. We can keep looking. We have some fortitude war scrolls right there. And just so on, we have some more here. And yeah, so these sales do not, that might be 10 more K that we sold worth of stuff. And then we also just sold, 20K worth right here. So, we probably spent, or we've probably made about 100K, and we've spent about 30K or so. So I highly recommend War Scrolls. They have been super awesome, very easy to make, and we're going to be moving on to the next item. So the next item I want to be talking about is simply just Shadowlands food. Now, if you guys have been playing Shadowlands or done gold making in Shadowlands a ton, food, at least on my server, has been a pretty hit or miss profession. A lot of the times, the materials get too expensive, and for some reason the food completely crashes, or so on, and it has caused, a lot of the sales not to be worth it. However, since this food is very helpful, specifically the feast, during the Mage Tower, I have seen the prices go up, and also the frequency of sales go up as well. Now, of course, these are super cheap to make. As you can see, I've sold some of the steak a la mode, recently, and my crafting cost for this item is only 2 gold a piece. So, yes, I'm selling this, for 14 gold, but that's still, that's like 13 gold profit due to my crafting cost. So, this is nothing that you're going to sell, probably hundreds of thousands worth. Of course, if you sell a very big abundance, you might, or you focus on the feast, but this little gold amount does add up. So as you can see, in the past, 14 days, in the past 2 weeks, I've sold about 1,800 food, a lot of it being more recent. As you can see, there's a lot more frequent sales than in the past. And also, I've sold a bit of the feast. On my server, feast for a very long time was not profitable at all, so, I barely sold them, but because of the Mage Tower and that they are actually now being recommended to use for the Mage Tower, I have seen the feast price go up, which actually means I'm able to finally sell it. So, I've sold a few in the past few days, and then also all of the stuff in the mailbox from, yesterday. I believe I have some of the feast in here. I'm not exactly sure. There we go. We have about 10 right there. We also have some food. We have some other food. We have the aspects. We have all of this. So basically, this is just a very overlooked profession at the moment. So I do highly recommend looking into it if you have not checked on prices recently. Then the next type of items I want to highlight are enchants. So there are a ton of enchants right now that are being advertised as best in slot for various different classes for the Mage Tower. So in general, I do want to say that Shadowlands enchants and just any kind of old world enchants are doing very well at the moment. But I will highlight 2 simply for this video, and one of them is the Shadowlands enchant Eternal Stats. Now, this is a recommended Shadowlands enchant for the Mage Tower. It is this one right here, and you can clearly see that there is a difference between, normal Eternals versus this one, and that is simply because it is being recommended to use. So, I've been selling these for the past few days, and the profit margin is very good. Basically, I'm doubling my crafting cost, and they have been selling very well. And once again, all you have to do is, learn the profession, learn the recipe, and then you are good to go. So, all of these enchants are good, I constantly sell these tenants. Like always, I always recommend selling, soul treads. You have some of the fortified if they're profitable at the moment. You have the gathering enchant. All of these are super good. You also have, of course, the enchanted items. But in general, this one has spiked a ton, and it is selling very fast. So I do recommend looking into the Eternal Stats. Now, in terms of old world enchants, there are just a ton that are selling very well. So it's kind of hard to just, right here, right then, just kind of blurred out every single one of them, but the spreadsheet that I did create is in the description down below, so if you want a visual of them, you can definitely go check that out. But I do want to say this is just an example right here. Well, we have some eternal stats selling right there, but this is an old world enchant minor power that I sold, for like 3,000 gold. So old world enchants are definitely selling. Now, this is not a mage tower item, but this is indeed another old world enchant that also sold. It's just Legion mining. So all of these old world stuff does sell, but the one I want to point out is the Crusader enchant. Now, this Crusader enchant, you do have to take an extra step, which is you have to either farm or buy the recipe. Now, the reason I put this on this list is because it takes basically less than an hour to get this. On average, if you go and farm the location for the Crusader enchant, which if I wanted to show you on screen, you would go right here into the Eastern Plaguelands. There is this little castle right here, and you just go and kill all of the Scarlet guys over there, and the Archmages have a chance of dropping this pattern. On average, it should take you no longer than an hour. Personally, I believe when I did this, it took me like 30 minutes to get the recipe, and this Crusader enchant has been super awesome. I will leave screenshots on the screen of people selling these, but people have been selling them upwards to 30,000 gold. And I will say this was one of the enchants that was nerfed. However, even though it was nerfed, it is still very viable for the Mage Tower. So of course, it's not as overpowered as it used to be, but it's still pretty good, which is why people are still buying them. I believe on my server right now, the Crusader enchant is going for about 9,000. I don't have any up right now because I don't have any materials to craft them, but these have been a flawless seller for people on servers. So, out of all the enchants, I always recommend, selling all of them, but the Crusader and the Eternal Stats are two very easy ones, and I recommend them. Moving on, we have the Unbridled Fury Potions, which if we want to look them up, as you can see on my server, they're going for about 1,500 gold. Now this is just a potion that has been very useful in the Mage Tower, and this is a BfA item. The reason why I want to talk about this is because all you have to do is, level up BfA Alchemy, and then you are able to craft this potion. But if you were a crafter previously in BfA, then you probably have the Silas Transmutation item, which gives you that extra procs whenever you're doing alchemy, and if you have that, you can use this to your advantage a ton. I was not very skilled with alchemy during BfA. It's one of those things that I just never really did, because to get that special item, you had to, do some quests and stuff, and I just couldn't be bothered. So personally, I have not been selling these, but if you are familiar with Hickons, he has been making a killing with these, and I know a ton of people in my Discord have also as well. And so all it requires is Zenithid, which if you guys have realized, has gone up in price quite a bit. Right now it's sitting at, like 350 on my server, but it's a simple item to craft, and as long as you have BfA Alchemy, you can craft this item. And of course, it is a bonus. If you do have the item that gives you the transmutation bonuses, then you are even better and you can make a ton more profit. Then lastly, I do want to highlight one of the old world gems, and this is the Crimson Spinal Gems. Now these are, if I look them up, they are these gems right here, and basically they are the, intellect, agility, and strength, and these are also being recommended for the Mage Tower as well. Now, if you guys did watch the previous video, I did talk about 2 old world gems already, but I held off on this one because you do have to do a quest line, which takes no longer, or it's not even a quest line, it's a single quest, which should take you probably 30 to 45 minutes to complete. But I held off on that one just because I didn't realize that, the Mage Tower was going to get extended. But because of that, I do highly recommend doing this quest. What you will have to do is you will have to go to the Caverns of Time. So you'll have to make your way to Tanaris, go to the Caverns of Time. But once you're in there, all the way at the bottom, kind of where the time walking vendor normally is, in the backside, there will be Endormi, kind of walking around, and they will have a Eternity quest. I will make sure I have the, information on screen, but you will accept this quest, and basically what you have to do is go kill 2 raid bosses. You have to go to Outland, and in Zangarmarsh, you have to go into the Serpent Shrine, and you have to go kill the final boss, which is her, which you can literally just go in here and straight walk to her. You don't have to go through the whole raid. Just kill her, then you will have to go to Netherstorm, go into the Eye, and then you also have to kill Sunstrider. So technically, you know, you could probably try for Ashes if you want as well. But you just kill those 2, you loot their items, and then you take them back, and then you will become friendly with the faction that you need. Then lastly, inside the Caverns of Time, you will go into the raid, and then that's where the vendor is, and you can purchase these 3 items, which once again, I will show you what they are. There are these right here. You purchase them, and you're good to go. So most of the travel time is what takes up the most time, but you know, once you're actually in the raid, if you're on a fast-moving character, this will take you no time at all. On my server, or on my toon, I was running this on a warrior, so I was very slow, and you know, I did also have to travel a ton, so it did take me, you know, about 45 minutes to complete the quest. But if you're on a druid, if you're on a monk, anything like that, you should be easily able to complete it. Then all you have to do is craft the gems, and it's super easy. Once again, I'll put some screenshots on screen of people selling them, but people have been made a killing selling them, and it's been super awesome. But yeah, guys, that is basically it. That is 5 other items, which maybe you guys have heard of, maybe you guys have been selling, or maybe you haven't yet, and hopefully this will give you some ideas. Yet again, there are so many items that you should be selling. You know, basically all of these in list right now. Of course, there's like missives and desolate gear, but we have the leg armor, you have the inscription pieces, armor kits, gems, war scrolls. All of this stuff is super good for the Mage Tower, so if you do want that full list, feel free to go check out that spreadsheet. But yeah, guys, hopefully this gives you 5 more items to add to your list, and maybe you can make some killing on some stuff that you didn't even know that you had the recipe for. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to join the Discord, where you can see other people's successes, you can see what items they're selling, and of course, you can just ask any questions that you have. But thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, have a good day.